Hello everybody. Today we're going to do another commentary video. We're going to talk about creepiest moments at my job. And these are moments that happened a few years back, honestly. My hair got messed up. But anyways, we all have creepy moments at our jobs. Whether it's depending if you're working at fast food, depending if you're working in a store, whatever, depending whoever you work as, you're always going to have moments that are just like, gives you like goosebumps. Well, we're going to talk about at least three of those times. I believe three. Um, I'm gonna try my best not to explain what do I work as. It's nothing bad. It's just that like I still work for it to this day. So it's kind of like no matter what, it's kind of like you don't want to like get in trouble with like your company or whatever. You don't want them to say, "Hey, we saw your video. We think you're pretty cool." But anyways, let's get into it. Uh, Three of the most creepiest times that I've ever encountered while working my job. Again, guys, I can't say in my profession. I don't want to get in trouble. Um, Guys, number one. One of the most creepiest times whenever I worked was when I had this morning shift where basically I was told that, hey, you have to go check the basement. Now, this is all going to make sense once I tell you guys, well, yeah, remember that one story I told you? Well, this is what I was working as. You're going to be like, oh, okay. So bear with me here. If the details aren't adding up, it's because I still work for the same company. Basically, it was this building that I guess used to be very busy in the 90s. It used to be a very business building, right? Whenever I had to go in there for first shift, they always recommended me check the basement, make sure everything is clear, make sure that, no doors are open and that no one's in the building, that shouldn't be there, because there's a lot of windows, what's stopping for somebody opening a window and jumping in, right? So I will have to go and check the whole basement. And tell me why the basement was the most creepiest thing on earth. Like, just to get to the basement, picture this. You have to go through this big steel door that you have to scan with a card. Now you have to walk down 2 flights of stairs that are very closed in, as in, like, no one could hear you, right? And basically, when I was working there, right, I would scan the card, open the door will shut. I'll go down these 2 flights of stairs. Now you're on the basement level, right? Now, the basement level, you have to do the exact same thing. You have to scan a card, and what is it? When you scan it, you open the basement door. Now, answer me this. The I don't know who bright idea was to leave all the basement lights off. I mean, the whole basement was off. Uh, as I said, it used to be a business building, so all the downstairs were like they didn't use it anymore. I guess they were very busy in the 90s or whatever, but they had desks down there, chairs down there, and my job was to make sure that everything was clear, that there wasn't someone in the building that shouldn't be. And I'll walk through that area, right? Pitch dark. I'm telling you, there's only 3 lights and they're so dim, dude, that if you like stand still enough and if somebody was to walk out the shadows, you see them, Like, it was really dark. Half the time, dude, I was just scared because it's like, if I don't come up in 15 minutes, then someone's gonna say, okay, I think something happened to Mr. Mercury, I think Mr. Mercury's fighting for his life in the basement, but yeah, dude, I always hated that. Again, it was a business building. They always told me, Mr. Mercury, you have to check the basement no matter what. You have to make sure it's all clear. Dude, I hated the basement, dude, because there'll be like 6 office rooms completely dark, dude. No one's there, but it's like, why do I have to go check that spooky room that is completely dark? Another thing that I hated about it was they had a garage. It was almost like a garage, but it was like an unfinished underground one. Like, I don't know if it really was a garage, but it was just like all concrete. I guess it was a big concrete storage room for all the stuff that they usually bring out for holidays or whatever, right? I will also have to check that out. And again, so nobody turned on the lights. Nobody turned on the lights. Luckily for that one, right when you open the door, the light switch is right here. So you know me. As soon as I open the door, all 5 light switches on. I'm not playing no games, Like, dude, it was terrifying how dark it was. If you think, imagine a darkest room or a closet that you can't even see the jackets that are hanged up in there. The sweaters, whatever, t-shirts, you can't even see them. That's how dark it was in that basement. And after I made sure everything was clear, I'll have to go back upstairs and let everybody know, okay, guys, it's clear. Nobody's down there. It's all good. I hated doing that. Every other morning I had to do that. And honestly, sometimes I actually felt like I'm like, dude, if someone's down here, dude, I'm about to fight, you know? It was pretty creepy, dude. As I said, a lot of buildings, I guess you could say they try to save power. I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I always had a little bit of fear. There was a snake down there one time though. There was a snake. It was a garden snake though, and it just went away. It went through the door and then just left. Um, Now we're moving on to number two. The third one's gonna be the most scariest one because dude, I just bailed, dude. I was like, no. Um, the second time I ever had a spookiest encounter, I could say spooky, was honestly, dude. There was this one place I used to work at. We're a contract to work there, and I had to work there every single second shift. Now on the holidays, nobody will be there. So if it was any holiday, major holiday, you're the only one in the building. There's a big warehouse. You're the only one in the building, and there's 2 floors. Um, and they will recommend you to do your walkarounds every hour or so. Go do walk around. Now, you know me, I want to stay in the area with the most light. I don't want to go in the areas that are completely dark, quiet. No, thank you. But unfortunately, on the holidays, you still have to do your rounds. So I got up, started doing one of my rounds. I believe it was like 6 or 7. So I was already more than halfway in my shift, a little bit, or already halfway. And I always hated checking the second floor. The second floor, they used to have something up there, but they closed it down. I don't know what it was. So whenever I checked the second floor, I always found it to be kind of creepy. Why? Because I guess it used to be a restaurant upstairs. They just closed it. Again, I have to be very low on the details. I don't want to, I don't want to one day walk into work and they're like, hey, we found your YouTube channel. Why didn't you tell us you're so handsome? But anyways, going back to it. The second floor was always the most annoying, but it also was kind of nice because you saw like the whole layout of like the warehouse. But it was pretty quiet being up there. Like it was really quiet. Like every single time you stepped, you heard your own steps. So it was pretty off. That wasn't also the most scariest part of doing the rounds, patrolling the outside. They wanted you to patrol the outside because they used to have trucks come in, right? And they had a gate. So they will still want you to patrol outside. So sometimes you will have to patrol outside. And I did. But unfortunately, several times, it was somewhere. Let me just explain to you. It was a warehouse by Little Village. Little Village. If you're from Chicago, you know where that is. It's an area called Little Village. You could literally Google it. Basically, it's a warehouse. I used to work over there. And, dude, when you have to patrol outside at night in Little Village, dude, like sometimes you hear stuff and you just gotta you have to not care, but I didn't like going outside, especially at night on a holiday. At least when it was a regular day, the forklift guys, you see one passing by every now and then saying hello, and you go hello, but sometimes on holidays they still wanted you to patrol outside. So I would have to patrol outside as well. And dude, it was just creepy vibes, dude. Creepy vibes, bro. Like I think one time they didn't even have the lights on and on the side, so it was like pitch black. It just felt so like Silent Hill, dude. Especially when it was like raining or snowing and you're the only one there. Dude, it felt very unreal. Like being in this big warehouse by yourself on a holiday out of all things. But yeah, the second one, as I said, it was mostly the second floor. They used to own a restaurant up there. They had the doors closed though. But sometimes on holidays, I don't know why somebody would leave the doors open. So when you're doing your rounds, you go upstairs, you look, the restaurant doors are open, wide open. You're like, yeah, I'm not going in there. Especially because if you went in there, they had like this kitchen. Dude, it was pitch dark in there. Like they had like the sliding door or whatever with like the glass. Pitch dark, dude. I'm not checking no kitchen, waiting for Michael Myers to sneak up on me, turn me into a delicious hamburger. Now, we're moving on to the third and final creepiest moment of my work. Many people ask me, like, what was the most scariest? You ever had any scariest moments at, like, your job? Once I tell them what I used to work as, because I've been doing it for, like, a bit. And I'll tell them, well, the creepiest one was, I believe, it was a day that I think there was, like, some band in town or something. Somebody was playing some concert or whatever in Chicago, because I remember, because it was like really packed once I got out of work. But the third time was, it was like 10:50. Oh, no. I got out at like 11ish. So it was like 9:50, almost 9:30. The warehouse that I was doing work at, right? Sorry guys. I thought I was in a burp. But the warehouse that I was working at, they had a bathroom all the way in the back by the game room. They had a pool room and everything. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And I used to always want to use the bathroom back there because it was always warm in there, and it was like closed off. So it was like kind of a comfy bathroom. Out of all the bathrooms, I prefer that one, right? And it was 9:30. I was like, well, let me do my final round and let me just wait for my relief at the desk. Again, it was another event or something, so nobody was there. Basically only me. And I went back there, did my final round, went upstairs, went around outside, did everything. Now I was walking, I was like, you know what? I have to use the bathroom. I drink a lot of water, right? My voice cracked. I drank a lot of water, and I was like, well, let me go to the back and use the bathroom one last time in the game room, and then let me go to the front desk and wait for my relief for like the last hour. Here's the funny thing. A lot of the bathrooms that they had sensor lights. And the bathroom by the game room had this gap in the bottom of the door, a small gap. So if somebody was behind the door, you see the movement, you see the shadows or whatever. And if the sensor light went off, you see the light through the gap. So when I went back there, past the pool room, la 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 la, with my water in my hand and my phone in my other hand, guess what I saw looking at this door? The bottom of the door, this bright light, the sensor went off. And I knew for a fact that that sensor in that bathroom was very sensitive. So if you went in there, like even if you pushed the door just to walk in, the sensor light was right here. So it automatically go off. But when I went to use the bathroom that day, that like literally an hour before my shift was over, the light was on. And I looked at that. Dude, I'm not going to lie. My heart fell out my ass. Dude, I was scared. Imagine going to the bathroom. You're told no one is in the building with you. You're the only one here. You go to use the bathroom, and the sensor light is off in the bathroom. I ain't going to no bathroom. So literally, dude, I held it. I didn't go to the bathroom till I got home. I saw the light. I went zooming right back to the desk, dude. I just sat there, waited till my relief to come, and I just told him, I was like, hey, dude. I told my relief, I was like, hey, just to let you know, dude, there's a light in the back bathroom. It's on. It's not supposed to be on. I didn't hear nobody, though. I didn't check it. I didn't go into the bathroom, though. Why am I going to be... Dude, come on, guys. I know by this camera you can't tell, but I'm actually 6'7", 300 pounds of muscle. I'm playing, guys. But I informed them, and then I just went home. But honestly, that was the most scariest part, because it's like, dude, you're in the building by yourself. So if anybody comes out of that room, if anybody comes out that bathroom, you're going to have to throw down. You're going to have to throw down. Dude, I can't run. I used to be a runner in high school. I used to do not track, but I used to run every day. My legs are not like what they used to be. I used to have horse legs, So I know I can't outrun whoever's behind that bathroom stall. I mean, in that bathroom. But yeah, it just creeped me out. I informed the relief. I was like, hey, dude, I think there's someone in there. I don't know if you want to go check it out. I think I actually did tell him. I was like, hey, you want to go? I'll go with you. We could go check it out. I feel better if I have more than one, And he was like, no, dude, it's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. And I went home. I saw him the next day, and he was like, yo, it was nothing. I don't know if he checked it, but he just said, But yeah, those are the 3 scariest moments of where I used to work. you know, in my profession, my job. Now there is some moments where, like, you know, my job does take me through different parts of the city. Again, it will all make sense once I tell you what I used to work as, but I hope that, like, I don't have to, because, like, I mean, dude, if my YouTube channel gets really big, if my YouTube channel hits like 2 million, 3 million subscribers, of course I could quit my job. Of course, you know. But, and I could tell you guys what I worked as. But until then, I'm gonna have you guys are gonna have to piece it together, you know, what I worked as. Um, but yeah, guys, those were the three most creepiest moments of my job. Sorry I don't give out the exact name of what I work for, because again, I don't want to get in trouble. Like, I don't want my company to say, "Hey, we saw your videos on YouTube. Why didn't you tell us you have the most beautiful eyes in the world?" Um, all right, guys, I'm ending the video there. Did you guys ever have any creepy moments at your jobs? I have many friends that worked at different locations, like different jobs, and they never told me anything creepy. But I always get asked that, like, oh, since you've been doing your job for a bit, like, what was like the most craziest thing that ever happened, you know? But what about you guys? I have a question for you. Whatever you work as, without explaining who you are and what job you work as, have you guys ever experienced anything creepy at your job? Night shift, especially, I know, be hella creepy at night, because, dude, no one's with you and you're literally just working night shift. But yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for these. And if you guys like these videos, like, comment, and share. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.